Part 96. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 955. It doesn't feel any different from when we renovated it, Javelin, who was standing not far from Qin Ji, said with some doubts as he looked at the scene during Anshan's remodeling. This is the first time to use props for transformation. It will definitely be different from ordinary transformation. I don't know the details now, but I believe Helena Qin Ji replied with a smile. At this moment, the light of the dragon-shaped jade pendant in Anshan's hand became more intense, and the dragon shape on the jade pendant seemed to be alive. It kept walking on the jade pendant, as if it was about to jump out at any time. Just when everyone was surprised, a dragon roar suddenly exploded in the sky. The radiant dragon-shaped jade pendant finally couldn't trap the green dragon inside, and let it fly out. After flying around Anshan's body for 2 times, the green dragon suddenly raised its head and let out another dragon roar toward the sky. At this time, the purple light in Anshan's mental core had completely disappeared, turning completely into a golden color. And just after the green dragon chanted to the Tianlong, it turned around and quickly flew towards Anshan's mental core. As if in a dream, a huge green dragon disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. No one even noticed when Anshan's decoration changed. "This is amazing," Shensu said in amazement. "Sure enough, it's different from when we transformed it. At least the dragon shape didn't appear when we started." "It's amazing," Javelin also looked shocked. "The aura is completely different from before. If it was the feeling of a junior that made people want to take care of them before, now he is already a Lingran warrior." Weizan nodded and looked at Anshan in front of him. Said. Qin Ji smiled and said, "It's true. I don't know if I saw it clearly. I always feel that the dragon horns in Anshan are stronger than before." "Commander is not wrong, it is indeed much stronger after the transformation than before," Yuxian said happily. As the flagship of Donghuang, she has actually been feeling quite stressed. Compared with other camps in the port area, Donghuang's strength is too weak. Although Qin Ji feels that it is nothing and values Donghuang very much, she always feels that she has no confidence in her heart. Now that Donghuang finally has a battleship worthy of a big task, she can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Just when everyone was amazed at Anshan's transformation, Anshan also completed its final transformation, curbed its own light, and opened its eyes. Feeling the obvious difference in herself now, she felt very excited, but now was not the time to be excited. She quickly came to Qin Ji and said to Qin Ji, "Anshan, the transformation is complete. I will use this new power to better protect the sisters and the commander." Qin Ji smiled and nodded, "Okay, I understand. But what I'm more curious about now is there any difference between your ship uniform and Donghuang's Anshan?" "Is it different?" Anshan was stunned, and then thought of Anshan who had stayed with her before. "There shouldn't be any difference. How about I try to manifest the ship suit?" "Okay, let's give it a try," Qin Ji said with a smile. "Yes, Commander," Anshan nodded immediately, then walked back a little to the water's edge, and then summoned his ship's uniform. As the blue light gathered, a ship outfit that looked like a skateboard appeared at the foot of Anshan. Moreover, the only remaining ship equipment on the body is a 130mm single-mounted gun, which looks very simple. Everyone's eyes were focused on the ship that looked like a skateboard. The 4 black missile launch ports were not just decorations. Wow, it turned into a skateboard. "Does that mean my ship uniform will also turn into a skateboard?" Changchun said in surprise. She always had a lot of clever ideas. She once saw Anshan's ship uniform turned into this, and she immediately thought of her own. "Ship equipment, will it become like this?" Qin Ji looked at Anshan and smiled. "How is it?" "It feels more concise than before, and whether it is a sudden attack or a long-distance battle, it has become more convenient," Anshan said excitedly while controlling the missile launcher skateboard to glide on the water. "It does look a lot cooler." Anshin, let's try the missile attack, it must be very powerful, Shenshu said excitedly. Despite what Shenshu said so quickly, Anshin still looked at Qin Ji, because in the port area, the firing restrictions could only be lifted if ordered by his commander. Qin Ji said with a smile, then give it a try, but set a few targets before trying. Target, Anshin was stunned. Qin Ji nodded and looked at Volga next to Shenshu. Volga, I still need your help. Set up 5 aircraft at 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers, and 30 kilometers ahead. Let Anshin use your aircraft as a target to test the power of missiles. Okay, Commander, I'm also curious about the power of the missile, but would it be too small to target an aircraft? Volga asked. It doesn't matter. The target should be as small as possible. After all, missiles are famous for their precise strikes, so the errors can be detected by then, Qin Ji said. Understood, Volga responded, and immediately unfolded his ship equipment and took off the carrier-based aircraft to carry out the mission Qin Ji had just assigned. After a while, Volga turned to Qin Ji and said, Commander, the 10-kilometer carrier-based aircraft has been deployed and is now flying at a low altitude over the sea at a constant speed. The other carrier-based aircraft are moving to the next target position. Well, Qin Ji looked at Anshin at this time, the target is moving at a constant speed. This difficulty may be slightly higher. Is Anshin confident? Yes, Anshin nodded vigorously and responded. Very good, then aim at the carrier-based aircraft 10 kilometers away and fire at will, Qin Ji said. Yes. As soon as Anshin responded, he focused his attention on the carrier-based aircraft moving 10 kilometers away. After accurately analyzing its movement trajectory and the speed of his own missile, he lightly stepped on his left foot and exposed the missile launch port to the water. I saw a missile flying out of the launch port instantly, drawing a perfect trajectory in the sky, and flying into the distance at an extremely fast speed. Wow! It's so fast. I feel like this speed is much faster than the mass-produced missiles in our port area, Javelin said in shock. Yes, although it doesn't feel as fast as the cannonballs of the battleships, it's almost the same, Zanwei said in shock. Haha, speed is only one aspect, the most important thing is its accuracy. You must know that the missile destroyer will become a battleship in the future because of these 2 points, Qin Ji said. Report to Commander, the first target has been destroyed. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 956. Report to Commander, the 30-kilometer target has not been destroyed, and the error distance is 2 meters. Volga reported accurately. Although she did not achieve the expected results, her eyes showed wonder. At a distance of 30 kilometers, the error distance was only 2 meters. This was just after the transformation, when Anshin was not very proficient in missile control. If we wait for a while, after Anshin becomes familiar with its own missiles, I believe that the 2-meter error will be corrected, and we can hit wherever we can within 30 kilometers. This is completely battleship-level firepower, completely beyond that of a destroyer. No wonder his commander said that the future era belongs to guided missile destroyers. After all, although the exit speed of the cannonball is high, it will attenuate during the flight, and after 20 to 30 kilometers, the degree of attenuation will increase significantly. The effective damage that can be caused will be greatly reduced. But the missile has no worries about this at all, and its speed will become faster and faster as the distance becomes longer and longer. Because it has its own boosting system, the power source will not be cut off along the way, and at a speed of nearly Mach 1, it will pose a great threat even to some advanced humanoid sirens. Hearing this result, Anshin looked at Qin Ji with some disappointment. I'm sorry, Commander, there was a mistake in the calculation. If it happens next time, it will definitely hit next time. Qin Ji smiled and said, this result is already amazing. The error of 30 kilometers is only 2 meters, and that's even if you are not proficient in missiles. When you become proficient in missiles, this error can be obviously ignored. By then you just hit wherever you point. I am very optimistic about your future strength, so keep working hard, whether it is for Donghuang or our port area. Yes, Commander, Anshan said firmly. Indeed, at a distance of 30 kilometers, even if I aim at a stationary target and fire, there will be errors, not to mention that Anshan is shooting at a moving target. The distance of 2 meters can basically be ignored, and missiles are really terrifying. I finally understand why all the mass-produced warships in our port area use missile warships. Such ultra-long distance and extremely accurate attack capabilities are simply created to change the battlefield environment. Zhang Xie said in surprise. Qin Ji nodded. Although mass-produced warships are consumables in battle, they are only paid for by our port area. Construction still requires a lot of materials, so save as much as you can. And all of them have been transformed into missile warships, which are not weak in attack power, and ultra-long-range strikes can also cause surprise attacks on the enemy. Indeed, I have experienced it firsthand in battle. The javelins laughed. Commander, stop chatting, it's my turn to carry out the transformation. Just when everyone was chatting happily, Chang Chun on the side finally couldn't hold it anymore, and pulled Qin Ji's clothes and said eagerly. Haha, I was so happy chatting for a while that I forgot about you. Okay, let's give you a makeover now. Qin Ji said with a smile, and then handed Chang Chun the drawings needed for the transformation and the jade pendant engraved with the white tiger. Chang Chun immediately ran to the open space, recalled what Anshan looked like just now, and then started his own transformation in a decent manner. The two sisters are indeed two sisters. Even the transformation process is exactly the same. However, compared to the green dragon emerging from the dragon-shaped jade pendant in Anshan, the transformation in Chang Chun is a white tiger emerging from the tiger-shaped jade pendant. The white tiger was in an unusually brave state. After jumping out of the tiger-shaped jade pendant, it danced around Chang Chun for 2 weeks and finally stopped behind her, looking up to the sky and roaring. This scene is very similar to the previous scene of Long Yin, which makes people deeply shocked. I've always heard how powerful the roaring dragons and tigers are, and you can see it today when I see them, Volga said with a smile. Qin Ji smiled and nodded. Haha, it's true. But now it's our turn for the highlight of the day. Everyone present focused their attention on War's Pite. Although the recent transformations in Anshan and Chang Chun were powerful, the most eye-catching thing was naturally the leap from ultra-rare level to maritime legendary level. In fact, everyone knows that if a true maritime legend level ship is selected from the royal camp, then except for war exhaustion, it seems that others are really not that qualified. From birth to retirement, he participated in countless operations. During World War II, he fought all over the world, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea, to the Indian Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean. It is not surprising that he experienced countless injuries, and some were even sunk on the spot. But she survived it all, and the legend of being unsinkable is worthy of her name. Because of this, war exhaustion's statement "I despise the hardships of war" makes it even more noble, powerful, and respectable. As a member of the Royal Navy, I not only despise war, but also fight the enemy whenever I see one. This is not the naive fantasy of a person who is ignorant of war, but a veteran who has crossed many battlefields and made countless meritorious deeds. He is well deserved. Pride. Is it finally my turn? Zhang Xian showed a smile. I have been waiting for this day for a long time. Then let's get started. Qin Ji nodded and then took the big sword from Belfast's hand and handed it to Zhang Xian's hand along with the transformation drawings. Sword. Looking at his own transformation item, Zhang Weizan was stunned for a moment. As a guardian knight and a royal sword holder, I think this transformation item is the one that can show your true nature. So hold on to the sword in your hand. No matter the future royal family or the future port area, you will be needed as a guardian knight. Qin Ji said with a smile. Thank you, Commander. I will definitely live up to your expectations. Zhang Xian nodded firmly and held the sword in his hand. After everyone saw this scene, they gradually backed away. The scene where the legend of the sea appeared was still a bit shocking. They were at a relatively close distance and might be pushed away by the air waves. It was better to stand farther away now. As Zhang Xian closed her eyes, a wave of air burst out from her body. Sure enough, everyone's behavior of retreating was wise. It was already like this at the beginning. How can it be done when she transforms later? When everyone focused their attention on Zhang Xian, the big sword in her hand slowly flew up, and the lines on the sword's body emitted colorful light. And this light and the light released from the core of Zhang Xian's mind reflected each other, and ancient images appeared around Zhang Xian. A huge battleship was sailing on the sea, fighting. Although his body was covered with scars, he was still there. Moving forward. On the huge battleship, an inscription was clearly visible. HMS Warspite. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 957. Your Majesty, we can just go up and take a look. Why do we have to stay here? The commander and senior war-weary are obviously there. The vanguard looked at hiding behind a tree, looking towards the place where war-weary had renovated, and peaked Elizabeth from the past said. I won't go over there. I can see clearly even if I stand here. And if I go over, will anyone ask? Warpity is obviously a ship of the same level as yours. Why is she now a legend on the sea, and you, but he is still an elite? How should I answer this? Elizabeth said while squeezing the bark of the tree with her little hands. Her Majesty is Her Majesty the Queen, and our royal family has not fallen to the point where Her Majesty the Queen is needed to fight, so no matter what level of ship you are, it will not have the slightest impact on us, Vanguard said quickly. I know your thoughts, but others don't, so in order to avoid similar situations, it's better to do this, Elizabeth said stubbornly. Seeing Her Majesty the Queen acting like this, Vanguard had no choice but to give up persuading her. On the other side, War Exhaustion's transformation is still going on. The images around her were constantly changing, just like telling how a new soldier transformed into a veteran. Everyone was shocked by this scene. As a bystander, I watched the life of this veteran with shock and respect. Until the image, the veteran dragged his broken body and used all his strength to break free from the chains that bound her through the storm. The spirit of never bowing to fate and always maintaining high morale gradually merged into the war-weary body as the image disappeared. At this moment, the golden light in the core of the mind has disappeared, replaced by the colorful light blooming with colorful rays. This ray of light gradually gathered, and finally, like a pillar of light, it soared into the sky and went straight into the sky. This scene caught everyone's attention. Although the transformation of Anshan and Changchun just now was shocking, it was the emergence of the maritime legend that shocked people. It wasn't until the light dissipated that everyone came back to their senses. At this time, the temperament of Zhang Xian in front of her was completely different. If Zhang Xian before gave people a sense of weakness, then now she has fully demonstrated her heroic side. Blue air waves continued to rise from her feet, and everyone could clearly feel the huge power even from such a distance. Is this the transformation of the legend of the sea? It's incredible, Yuxian said in shock. Yes, this scene is better than the sea legends that were summoned before, Qin Ji said with a smile. The commander is also very pleased, right? The approaching port area already has so many maritime legends and powerful ships. I believe the commander is already confident about the victory in the subsequent battles, Volga smiled. To put it this way, it's a bit too complacent. We should always stay vigilant and welcome every battle seriously. Only in this way can we ensure victory in the final battle, Qin Ji said with a smile. Yes, it is. While talking, war exhaustion finally returned to its normal form, and then walked over with a relaxed look on his face. War exhaustion, the transformation is complete. This new look feels really good. Let's welcome the new battlefield together, Commander. Haha, it seems that you are very powerful, but now is not the time for fighting. It is also very important to recharge your batteries before the battle, especially since you have just transformed and have not yet fully mastered the power you have, so take advantage of this opportunity. Take a while to hone yourself, and when the war begins, I am very much looking forward to your activeness on the battlefield, Qin Ji said with a smile. I will definitely not disappoint the commander's expectations, Zhang Ti said. Okay, then go back to Elizabeth quickly. I'm worried that if you haven't gone back for so long, she will call me again and ask for you, Qin Ji said with a smile. Haha, in fact, Commander, after work, you can also come and sit with Her Majesty the Queen. Although she says so on some things, she still cares about you very much in her heart, Zhang Xian smiled. Just wait until I find time to come. And isn't everything we are doing now so that we can have more time to get together in the future, Qin Ji said. Well, then I'll leave first. Commander, please also take some rest. Good. With the completion of the transformation of Zhang Xian, the ship girls surrounding here gradually left. Zhang Xian and Yuxian also left one after another, leaving only Qin Ji and Belfast walking towards the office again. Master, haven't today's documents been processed? Why did you come back to the office again? Did you miss something? After Belfast returned to the office, he asked Qin Ji doubtfully. Qin Ji smiled and shook his head. Today's files have indeed been processed, but it's not because I missed anything when I returned to the office. Next, please help me contact Helena of Ember. I have something to ask her. Clear. Although I don't know what the specific matter is, since my master said so, there must be something important. Belfast acted quickly, and Helena appeared in the office not long after. Haha, at this point in time, you specifically called me here. Is it because of Bismarck's affairs, Commander? As soon as the two sat down, Helena said straight to the point. Qin Ji looked at Helena and couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seems that nothing in Minato can escape your eyes. Of course, I have been watching the commander, Helena said softly, with a little dependence and a little stubbornness in her words. Okay, so since you have already brought it up, I don't have to beat around the bush. I want to know, what are the chances of the ship modification that Helena mentioned before, for Bismarck? How much does it have to do with you? Can we complete this ship modification before we start the war? Qin Ji looked at Helena and asked directly. The answers to these questions are very simple, let me tell you one by one. First of all, ship modifications such as York City and Hornet will go smoothly, because their historical forms are there, and their mines there is already a file of ship equipment in the core, so you only need to carry out modifications to the ship equipment, and you can have combat effectiveness at any time. But Bismarck is different. If she uses York City's type of ship modification to modify her, the chance of failure will be more than 90%. Helena said, looking at Qin Ji. Because in this world, your Bismarck lacks an important process. What process? Qin Ji asked doubtfully, suddenly remembering what Helena said before. Is it metamorphosis? Yes, I fell into hell due to greed for power. I didn't wake up until the last moment, but it was too late. In the end, relying on my own will and obsession with my own camp, I survived and slept for a long time. Until wake up in the world, become enlightened, and become a truly wise leader. Helena said with a smile. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 958. So? What should we do now? Qin Ji looked at Helena and said, if Bismarck is allowed to go through such a process, I will not agree. Even if she can have more powerful power, I cannot predict whether her mind and body will be damaged, so I can't do something like this. Helena sighed, I know, Commander, you won't hurt them for the sake of power, but this process does not mean that Bismarck will have to go through the journey of Bismarck in another world again, but that there will be this transformation. The process will work. The process of transformation, Qin-Ge blinked, what does it mean to have the process of transformation without going through the same thing? Because your Bismarck and that Bismarck are basically two different Bismarcks. The two people have different mental journeys and different experiences of each other. If they are imposed, it may cause serious division. So we can't start directly from the core of her mind, but if she is allowed to have a dream, she can weave such a world in her dream. Although it is illusory, let her actually experience this matter, so that it will not cause a sense of separation, and it can also have a very good result. Helena said. Weaving a dream, Qin-Ge frowned, although the idea of weaving a dream is good, why do I feel a little unreliable? The key to Bismarck's transformation is that she defeated metamorphosis, right? If Bismarck has not even experienced metamorphosis, how can we ensure that she can increase the chance of transformation after experiencing a dream like that? Commander, this is a good question, but do you know what metification is? Helena asked. Qin-Ge nodded, it has been mentioned in the documents you submitted before and in the documents we searched in the sea. Metification is when the nature of things changes towards meta. This process is called metaification. Yes, meta is meta. Meta is a trend and a nature. It is the process of change and the result of change. The mental Rubik's Cube can be metaized, and metaships can be born based on the meta-tipped mental Rubik's Cube. Ships can also be metamorphed into metaships based on the metamorphosis of one's own mind cube. For metaships built based on the meta-mind cube, their meta level is irreversible. At least no way to reverse it has been found so far. However, based on the transformation of a ship into a meta-ship, its metaification is reversible within a certain limit, and there are currently a variety of mature processing methods. The end of the metamorphosis of the mind cube is the meta cube, and the end of the metamorphosis of the ship is us. Helena smiled. Our existence is proof of metaification. So what you're saying is that all the ship's mind cubes have the nature of metamorphosis. Even if it doesn't appear now, maybe one day, metamorphosis will appear, Qin-Ge doubted. Yes, because no matter which world it is in, the birth of the ship is due to the meme of the original prototype ship. So no matter how the ship changes, her character and her essence are actually the same. Just like the Bismarck, because there are memes of the Bismarck prototype ship, whether it is the Bismarck under the commander, the Bismarck as an iron-blooded leader, or the Bismarck existing in various other ways, they all have the same characteristic, that is the iron-blooded will is above all else. As a wise leader, as the leader of a camp, this is innate. This is the meme, the human equivalent of genes, and the basis of all ships. Helena said. So when Bismarck is in the weaving dream, her mental Rubik's Cube will also metamorphise along with the dream. When the dream ends, will it eventually be reflected on her body? Qin-Ge asked. It is the result that is reflected on your body, not the process. The commander must be clear about this, Helena said. So, how sure are you about this matter? Qin-Ge asked. This technology is very mature, and the person who executed it is Bismarck, who has always been very determined, so as long as you can safely enter the dream world, the chance of success should be more than 90%, Helena said. Then what are the causes of other abnormalities? Qin-Ge asked. The change in nature does not happen overnight, and there will be the intervention of many factors. This is just an understatement. After all, there is no perfect thing in this world. People are not as good as God. There are countless such things. So we can only do our best. As for perfection, that kind of state is really difficult. Helena said. Qin Ji shrugged, that's true, so how do we let her enter the dream, and how do we weave this dream? It's very simple to enter the dream world. Shinano in Minato can help with it, but Shinano is in Hawaii now and it will take some time to come back. And during this time, we can also adjust the machines and methods we use. The commander can also take advantage of this time to have a good talk with Bismarck. After all, my opinion on this matter is the most important. If she rejects such things, then no matter how hard we try, it will be of no avail. If this is her own expectation, then please strengthen her confidence. When the dream ends, he will become a truly reborn and powerful ship. Helena said. You are right, so let's talk about this matter today. As for what to do next, I am still undecided. I will wait until I ask Bismarck. Whether she wants to transform to gain more strength or maintain the status quo will be left to her to choose. Qin Ji said. Yes. Watching Helena leave, Qin Ji thought for a long time, then calmed down and looked at Belfast aside. Bifa, go prepare the projection facilities. Yes, Master Belfast said to Qin Ji, do you need me to inform Miss Bismarck? Qin Ji shook his head, I need you to inform Shinano, but this matter must be kept confidential. Yes, Master Belfast suddenly realized. Qin Ji still believed Helena's words. Although the process of metazation makes people a little worried, the most important thing in their port area is meta-oriented ships. For Ember, probably no one understands metamorphosis better than them. But the reason why Qin Ji came to Shinano was to confirm something. In less than half an hour, the video communication had started, and Shinano appeared in front of Qin Ji. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 959. The day when Shinano and the others returned to Hong Kong was already several days later in the afternoon. After Qin Ji asked Shinano several questions in detail, he asked Belfast to notify a few people in York City, and he would be with Shinano when he came back. Originally, several people had already walked some distance, but after receiving such a notice, they immediately returned to Hawaii, met up with Shinano, and then headed towards the port area together. Commander. Seeing Qin Ji standing on the shore to greet him and others, York City and Shinano were very happy. After all, I haven't seen Qin Ji for several months, but now that I can see my commander as soon as I return to the port area, I feel better. Welcome back to the port area. It's been a hard journey, Qin Ji said with a smile. It's not hard work. After all, we have controlled a large area of the sea now, and it went very smoothly when we came back. York City smiled. Yes, and we took the command ship all the way back. When we had nothing to do, we sunbathed on the deck. When we were bored, we went to the cabin to sleep. We didn't feel hard at all, Bumblebee said. Qin Ji smiled and said, that's good. Let's talk about it now while we go back. Okay, everyone nodded. They turned around and walked towards the port area together. While everyone was walking on the road, Qin Ji also asked about the situation in Hawaii on the other side. How is it going in Hawaii now? Does anyone have any doubts about this renovation? Qin Ji asked. Actually, everyone is very supportive of this revision. We have been fighting before. Although there were breaks during the period, the time was still a bit too short. Now we can slow down and rest for a while to prepare for the big battle. This way everyone is very happy. Before we come back, New Jersey invites Chongying, and everyone in Iron Blood is preparing to go to the beach in Hawaii. Bumblebee said. Haha, if it's New Jersey, that's not surprising, Qin Ji said with a smile, it's better for everyone to take a good rest. The outcome of the next battle will basically be determined by one battle. Before that, having a good mood is more important than anything else. What's going on in the Siren Sea over there? Although you can receive reports from there every day, compared to what you have experienced personally, they are still a little less colorful. The sea over there is very strange. The whole sky is dark red. There are siren fortress buildings everywhere in the sea. It feels like a hell-like place. Although we didn't see many sirens outside. Production type, or executor agent, etc., but the updated radar shows that there are many enemy troops inside. The company suspects that it is a mirror sea area, so we cannot see much information from the outside. Only after going there can we judge the accurate enemy situation. York City said. Chin Ge nodded, the situation here is similar. It seems that the core area of the Pacific is indeed the focus of their defense, and the distance to this mirror sea is really too big. Therefore, now is not the time to be anxious. We must improve all the forces that can be improved, and then unite all the forces that can be united, and then carry out a comprehensive battle. Yes, now the major camps in the Atlantic Circle have sent their main forces here. Compared with the previous attitude, the attitude has indeed changed a lot, Langley said. This is true, and for their senior leaders, it seems that they are preparing for this group battle as the end of the world, York City nodded. In the public port area next to us, Donghuang, Chongqing, and Northern United have also sent out their main forces. Except for some high-level officials who stayed in their own camps to handle daily affairs, all the awakened ship girls who can be dispatched have been dispatched. Chin Ge nodded. But our camp on the Pacific coast is easy to say. After all, the sea here is completely controlled by us. The one on the Atlantic side is indeed a bit desperate. Yes, this battle lasted too long. Now everyone sees hope. If this battle can be completed, it will truly end everything, York City said. But this time I'm more interested in the transformation of our ship. Can the commander tell us what kind of transformation it is? Will we become stronger after the transformation? Bumblebee said with interest. Chin Ge smiled and said, it's equivalent to reshaping your ship's equipment, just like your current York City-class ship's equipment, but compared to the Essex-class ship's equipment, it will be much simpler. But in the Essex class, there are indeed two aircraft carriers called Yorktown and Hornet, and of course there is Lexington. However, the current ship modification is only available to you, and Lexington will have to wait for a while. Therefore, after this ship modification, it is equivalent to you having an Essex-class ship suit, and the power used will naturally be stronger than what you have now. Really? York City asked with interest, but suddenly a trace of doubt flashed across his face. Commander, after our transformation, will it be regarded as a York City-class battleship or an Essex-class battleship? Is there any difference? Chin Ge asked doubtfully. If we are considered Yorktown class, then it always feels weird to wear this Essex-class ship uniform, but if we are considered Essex class, then how are we going to face Essex? Where are the businesses? York City asked. Chin Ge laughed dumbly, but are these key points important? Isn't it important? York City was stunned for a moment. Chin Ge smiled and said, ship uniform modification is to upgrade your ship uniform level, which is equivalent to changing a suit of clothes, and such a change will not affect your mind, nor your cognition, nor will it affect you. Memory. Are York City level York City and Essex level York City important? In my heart, you are still the gentle York City. Doesn't it mean that you mind such a change? Hearing Chin Ge's words, York City couldn't help but restore his previous smile. The commander is right, the change in strength will not affect the relationship between us, let alone me, the Enterprise and Essex. I thought too much about the relationship between them when I came back before. Haha, so this time we return to Hong Kong and have a good rest. I will take you to Helena for ship modification tomorrow. Chin Ge said this and looked at Zilly. As for Zilly and Santiago, you also have a good rest today. Wait until tomorrow to carry out the transformation of the Sea Legend for you. Thank you, Commander, the two said excitedly. Hee hee. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Hwangming Muji. Chapter 960. After arranging for a few people from York City to rest, Qin Ji called Shinano. After all, there were other things to ask her to come back this time. The two of them were talking while walking towards Chongying Xiazu. How have you been getting along with Bai Ying and the others? Is there anything you're not used to? Qin Ji asked with a smile. Everything is fine. The people at Beiying are also very enthusiastic. There is nothing that I am not used to. Besides, I am also following Yutaki, so everything is fine on the way back. Shinano looked at Qin Ji and said, although the relationship between the two is not as affectionate as Qin Ji and Guanghui, the relationship between the two has been very close since Shinano was summoned, otherwise it would not be possible her name will be among the first batch of pledge ship girls. That's good. Qin Ji nodded. This time it's not your fault, but I have to trouble you to make a trip. In fact, I feel a little sorry in my heart. It doesn't matter. As long as it's your business and everyone's business in Minato City, I'm fully responsible for it. Shinano shook his head and said. Well, have you had any dreams recently? Qin Ji asked with a smile. Yes, most of the time they are good dreams, and I am very happy, Shinano said in a gentle tone. She had been entangled by bad luck before, and every time she fell into a dream was a torment, but she had to face it. To fate. Nowadays, when I dream, although not every time it is a good dream. But whenever she saw hope coming and the misfortune surrounding her gradually dissipating, she was still fascinated by the joy that was released from the bottom of her heart. That's good. So what are you dreaming about in these beautiful dreams? Are you dreaming about me? Qin Ji said with a smile. Yes, it is because every time you appear, my dreams will become beautiful. With you by my side, even the shackles of fate seem to have become less important, Shinano said softly. Qin Ji smiled and reached out to hold Shinano's hand. Although this ancient beauty was clearly by his side, he still held her loosely, making her feel like she was drifting away. Like the thick fog in the sea, it is so illusory and elusive. But Qin Ji could clearly feel this emotion, and the warmth coming from between his fingers made his heart jump a little. Then what prediction does Shinano have for our future battle? Qin Ji asked with a smile. The road ahead is filled with too much fog, and it seems to have countless possibilities. But I always feel that behind this fog, there seems to be only one possibility, and that possibility has been calculated by others thousands of times. Although I don't know why I feel like this feeling is not bad, and the result is not bad, but I am still bound by fate and cannot escape. Shinano said slowly. Qin Ji smiled. He understood Shinano's answer at once, but it was exactly as Shinano said. All this seemed to be full of fog and made people unclear, but in fact it was clear from the beginning. The ending is already determined. What is unknown is just the process from the beginning to the end, and I enjoy this process very much. Yes, although he knew the ending, it was more so that Qin Ji had no worries and could face the upcoming battle with a more calm attitude. To show yourself better and improve yourself, without the kind of indifferent mentality. Qin Ji has always done this, so he is full of confidence in the final battle. Haha, actually sometimes I think it's good to follow the arrangements of fate. This doesn't mean to be soft on fate, because fate is a straight line. Sometimes you want to break through fate and do things that go against your own choices. In fact, what is caused is a wave on that straight line. But fate will eventually get back on track, just like you and I have been separated for so long, and one person will come back to me. This is the fate of the two of us. Do you think this fate is bad? Qin Ji looked at Shinano and smiled. I don't think such a fate is bad, but when I encounter some struggling things, I may have other hopes. But now I have looked away. As long as I follow you, it seems that fate, whether it's happiness or misfortune, it doesn't matter anymore. Because those are our fates, and I cherish our fates very much. Shinano held Shinji-I's hand tightly and said. Yet Shinji-I nodded, I think so too. Looking at the nearby Chongying Zaizu, Shinji-I reached out and pushed open the courtyard door. Although your main force of Chongying is outside now, there are still people coming here to clean it, so you can rest here tonight. What about you? Shinano asked, can you stay? If you are by my side, I will definitely have a good dream tonight. Haha, I won't leave, and I need you to stay with me these days, because there will be many things that will require your intervention, Shinji-I said with a smile. As long as my strength is needed, please tell me, and I will go all out. Shinano's tone was obviously relieved and he became happy. Ha, I'm not polite at all about things like this, Shinji-I said. Besides, you've been on the boat for so long, are you tired now? Why don't you take a rest first? It doesn't matter, as long as I stay close to you, I like this feeling, Shinano said. The two of them came to their usual resting place, and then sat down leaning against each other, looking at the falling cherry blossom trees outside the window, their expressions full of relaxation and joy. Although Shinano said before that she was not tired, in fact after the two of them leaned on each other and chatted for a while, she fell asleep in Shinji-I's arms. He still looked the same as before, lying in Shinji-I's arms, with the big tail behind his back wrapping the two of them tightly, as if they were covered with a thick blanket. This feeling is not bad. The buildings here at Chongying Zaizu are protected by a barrier, so the temperature has always been kept very suitable. The cherry blossom trees can remain open all year round. Shinji-I did not feel overheated or uncomfortable. Moreover, in such a leisurely environment, Shinji-I seemed to feel trapped, so he hugged Shinano and squinted slightly. He was confused and didn't know how long he had slept. When Shinji-I woke up, he found that the sky outside had dimmed at some point. The sunset on the horizon had not completely set, but it was only a matter of time. He glanced at Shinano, who was still sleeping in his arms, and couldn't help but smile on his face. With you by my side, time seems to have become leisurely. It's great. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 961. Are you going back? Frederick the Great looked at Bismarck, who was cleaning up, and leaned against the wall and said. Yes, the commander personally sent the communication last night. Although he did not clearly explain what it was about, he generally would not randomly dispatch people in the experimental site, especially us. So I believe that this time, there must be something very important. Thing, Bismarck said. Yes, the research we do here is indeed far away from the things in the port area. Now, the situation here has been basically stable, and you should really go back and take control of the overall situation. Frederick the Great smiled. The overall situation can be controlled by the commander, and we can provide assistance from the side, Bismarck said. Although I say that, my child still has some weakness in his decision-making. He cherishes us too much. Frederick the Great shook his head, but his words were full of doting. Bismarck paused, but it's also a good thing, isn't it? If a commander doesn't even cherish his own soldiers, then he is not a qualified commander. You have become weak too, Frederick the Great smiled. Because I have clearly understood my position in the port area. Although the iron-blooded will is above everything else, now in this port area, the commander's will is above everything else. After Bismarck finished speaking, he turned to look at Philip the Great Emperor. 2. Then I'll leave this place to you. You may not come here for a while after leaving this time. That thing has been basically completed, and only the final debugging is left, Bismarck said. Well, spend more time with my child for me, Frederick the Great smiled. Bismarck raised his feet and walked past Frederick the Great. When you return to the port area, you can accompany him by yourself. He. Although it was said that I was going to give other people a makeover today, it was obviously not in the morning. As usual, Qin Ji was very busy in the morning. Even though there was no fighting in several aspects, he still had to make decisions on the decision-making documents of the port area. This is not a simple thing, but for Qin Ji, it is already used to it. Commander, take a rest. You have been working for several hours. Even if you want to finish processing these documents and do other things, you have to take your time. Aurora held a cup. He put the tea in front of Qin Ji and said. Qin Ji raised his head and said, "Ha, it doesn't matter, I'm used to it. And there aren't many files to process now. There should be less left after processing these now, right?" "Yes, there is only about an hour of work left." Aurora smiled and nodded. Qin Ji took the water and took a sip. "By the way, is Bismarck back?" "I haven't received a report yet, but if the commander informs him, I believe Bismarck will come back on time with his character," Aurora said. "Yes, but it stands to reason that usually at this time, she would be back." Qin Ji looked at the clock beside him and said. At this moment, there was a sudden knock on the office door. For a moment, both Qin Ji and Aurora looked towards the door, and saw a figure pushing open the office door and walking in. "Commander, iron-blooded Bismarck reports." Qin Ji looked at the figure in front of him and couldn't help but smile. "I was telling Aurora that at this time, you should have arrived, but you did arrive. It really means that CAO has arrived." "Huh," Bismarck looked at the two of them doubtfully. Indeed, April smiled. It just so happened that Bismarck came back to talk to the commander and let him have a little rest. He has been working since this morning. Bismarck suddenly realized, Commander should remember to balance work with rest. You are the pillar of our port area. If the pillar collapses, it will have a great impact on our entire port area. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile helplessly. These are basic tasks, and there's nothing special about them, so don't worry. It's you. Have you arranged all the work at the experimental site? It has been arranged that these important tasks will be completed by me and Frederick the Great together. Even if I am away from there, I can still carry out various tasks normally. And the production of mass production has now been fully automated, which has greatly saved manpower. Other work is also progressing steadily. The one you saw before has now entered the final stage and only needs to be debugged. You can use it at any time." Bismarck looked at Qin Ji and said. "That's great. We are a little more confident." Qin Ji smiled and said, "By the way, why don't you wait in my office for a while, and when I finish these tasks, I will take you to see their transformation work." "So is this the purpose of the commander calling me back?" Bismarck was a little confused. When notifying last night, Qin Ji did not explain in detail why. Bismarck didn't ask any more questions. After all, according to normal judgment, Qin Ji must have something very important to do when he asked her to come back. Otherwise, Qin Ji would not arrange for people at the testing site to do anything else. Qin Ji smiled and nodded, then shook his head. "Yes and no. The purpose of calling you back is indeed related to what I said before, but you are not a spectator." "I'm not a spectator? Could it be that?" Bismarck was full of surprise. Qin Ji nodded, then looked at Aurora. "Aurora, I have to discuss this matter with Bismarck alone, please excuse me." "It doesn't matter. It just so happens that Commander takes this time to take a good rest." Aurora didn't seem to mind at all. After saying this with a smile, she temporarily left the office. Watching Aurora leave, Bismarck's curiosity was aroused. What is it that requires Qin Ji to be so mysterious? This is what happened. Qin Ji looked at Bismarck and told Bismarck everything Helena had told him before, as well as what Ember Helena had said about metamorphosis, and some of these things. After all, in his opinion, the authorities must understand all the information so that they can make their own judgments. Moreover, this matter itself has relatively high risks, and we need to be cautious when making choices and judgments. After listening to Qin Ji's story, Bismarck pondered for a moment. Commander, I just want to know one thing, after I make these changes, will I still be me? Shinji nodded, I have already asked Helena and Shinano. These changes are equivalent to a dream for you. The most important thing is to let the core of your mind record the changes, but will not affect your mind and memory. So even if you make changes, you will still be you. Of course, you can also choose to give up, because this matter itself has risks. Bismarck smiled, I just need this answer. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 962. The conversation with Bismarck did not last long. Both of them were resolute and decisive people, especially Shinji, who had prepared everything before. Until now, he just needed Bismarck's attitude. But now that Bismarck has made his attitude clear, there is no need to think about anything else. Finally, when Shinji finished today's work, the two of them and Aurora notified a few people who came back yesterday, left the office and came to the Scientific Research Institute, where several other people were waiting. Commander. When everyone saw Shinji's arrival, they hurriedly greeted him. Well, everyone moved so fast. I thought you would have to wait a while before coming back, Shinji said with a smile. Hee, I have been looking forward to the ship modification since I came back yesterday, so I rushed over as soon as I received the commander's notice, Bumblebee said without any concealment, and his whole body was filled with excitement. The feeling of excitement was obviously due to the fact that he was very concerned about this ship modification. Haha, I'm also looking forward to how you will look after the transformation. I believe you will become very powerful, Shinji said with a smile. Of course, Heyman said arrogantly from the side. Shinji smiled and touched his nose, then looked at Santiago and Zilly, you two can wait until later to carry out the transformation. Let them carry out the ship modification first. It's okay, Commander, we're not that anxious anyway. 11 Lee didn't care. Anyway, Shinji called her back this time for the purpose of transformation, so it was just a matter of time, so she wouldn't have any worries. Seeing Santiago and Zilly nodding, Shinji turned to look at Helena, who was waiting next to him. Helena, can we proceed now? It's ready at any time. The machine debugging has been completed. Commander, just wait here, Helena said, then turned to everyone, then who should you start with? I'll go first, Bumblebee said without hesitation. Helena looked at Shinji. Shinji nodded and said to Bumblebee, the whole process of ship decoration modification will be quite dizzying. It is equivalent to a new shaping of one's own ship decoration, so it will be temporary for a period of time, lose consciousness. But don't worry, this is only temporary and will be resolved soon. I understand. I feel very at ease when Helena does things. Moreover, my sister and I have participated in the research and development of this project before, so we still have some understanding of the process, Bumblebee said with a smile. Well, then please invite Bumblebee into the machine. In order to ensure normal operation, entering the machine will restrain your hands and feet and close the hatch, Helena reminded Bumblebee. Good. Bumblebee answered cheerfully, and walked into the huge machine in front of him. It looked a bit like a builder in appearance, but it was much larger than the builder. Countless tubes and cables connect the huge machine, which looks very sci-fi. Bumblebee walked to the machine, Helena pressed the button of the hatch, and then the hatch slowly opened. Looking at the humanoid cabin inside, Bumblebee stepped forward and lay down. As soon as she positioned her arms and body, several straps shot out from the gaps on the side and tightly fixed her hands and feet. Although Helena had explained it before, it was obvious that Bumblebee was still a little surprised, but he quickly reacted, gave up resistance, and lay relaxed in the cabin. Then let's start. It won't take long and it will be over soon, Helena said as she pressed the button of the machine. Then the hatch slowly closed, and no one could see Bumblebee anymore. On the screen connected to the machine on the side, rows of data were immediately displayed. Helena typed quickly on the keyboard, her eyes very focused, staring closely at the changing data on the screen. After a while of tapping, Helena pressed a red button on the keyboard. Immediately afterwards, the entire machine began to shake violently, and some roaring sounds began to be made during the shaking, just like the changes in the mental Rubik's Cube during construction. And the reason why such a movement is happening here must be because the mental cube needs to undergo certain changes when renovating the ship's equipment. The whole process is not slow at all, on the contrary, it is even faster than the construction time. The rumble of the machine only lasted for a while and then gradually quieted down. After the rumble quieted down, the hatch of the modified machine began to slowly open. Just when the hatch opened a gap, a golden light came out from the gap. Along with the light, there was also a very strong fog. Qin was stunned for a moment. He knew that modification could increase a ship girl's level by 1 level, but could just changing the ship's outfit also increase a ship girl's rarity level by 1 level? You must know that Bumblebee was originally an elite ship girl, but now judging from the golden light revealed from the hatch, it has clearly been transformed into a super rare ship girl. In fact, it wasn't just Qin, several other people also sounded surprised sounds. They were obviously amazed that the modification of Yu's ship's outfit could improve the rarity level of the ship girl. At this time Langley looked at Helena. "Helena, can I ask you something?" "Okay," Helena replied, "you say it." "I have carried out a transformation before and upgraded it from the ordinary level to the rare level. If I carry out the ship modification, will it upgrade to the elite level?" Langley asked. "I don't know specifically about this, because all the information is recorded in your mental Rubik's Cube, so only after you go up and read the file information in your mental Rubik's Cube through this machine can you judge the ship's modification." "Will there be a qualitative leap?" Helena said. "Is this what it is like?" "I understand," Langley nodded. During the conversation, the entire cabin door was completely opened, and the thick fog gradually dispersed with the air. What was revealed to everyone was a ship girl who was the same as the previous Bumblebee, but with a different temperament, and especially compared with their previous figures, the current figure of the Bumblebee is obviously much better than before. In addition to his figure, his clothing is much bolder than the previous Bumblebee. If it felt like a Western cowboy before, this one is completely like a Western cowboy wearing a bikini. Amidst everyone's surprise, Bumblebee opened his eyes, then looked at everyone with a smile and said, "Essex-class aircraft carrier, the Bumblebee who has gained new powers is me. But to be honest, besides the ship apart from appearance and combat effectiveness, there is not much difference compared to before. Commander, don't look at me like this, I'm still very grateful, okay?" Qin couldn't help but smile. "I feel relieved when I see you like this." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Hwangming Ji. Chapter 963. Bumblebee, how are you feeling now? Is your memory okay? York City asked anxiously. After all, his whole person has changed drastically, and he still says that he is Essex level. To York City, it feels like a different person. Sister York City, don't worry, everything is fine with me. Bumblebee waved his hand and said, "Didn't I tell you everything just now? The memory has not changed. The reason why they call themselves Essex class is not because changes to the ship's outfit. But having said that, I feel like my body has changed a lot. This ship suit transformation is really amazing." Hearing Bumblebee say this, York City felt relieved. Indeed, for a ship girl, the most important thing is the ship uniform. Even if the memory does not change, with the change of ship uniform, there will be some changes in the name of herself. Qin has said it before, are York City and Essex levels really that important? Now, She finally understood the meaning of this sentence. After all, ship decoration modification is not an ordinary modification. If ordinary modification is just a patchwork on the original basis, then ship decoration modification is an overall reshaping. Okay, come down quickly and let your sister take a good look at you, otherwise she will be a little worried, Shin-Ji said with a smile. Bumblebee quickly came over and stood next to York City and whispered something quietly. As for Shin-Ji, he looked at the others. Which of you wants to go next? Me. Northampton raised his hand. Shin-Ji looked at Northampton, who had purple hair and was tied with a big yellow bow. To be honest, in his memory, he has very few memories of Northampton. Of course, it's not the memory of the heavy cruiser Northampton, but the memory of living with her in the port area. This is not to say that Shin-Ji doesn't value these people, but sometimes he is busy and is pestered by other ship girls, so he spends less time with other ship girls. I especially remember that the time I saw Northampton the most was when she was with Bumblebee. As the White Eagle Northampton-class treaty heavy cruiser, Northampton's biggest regret is that it failed to bring back the Hornet. I remember this is what she told Shin-Ji when he summoned her. Now after Bumblebee underwent ship modification, he stepped forward without hesitation. Shin-Ji smiled and nodded, okay. After receiving Shin-Ji's approval, Northampton walked towards the modified machine. Following the example of the previous Bumblebee, Northampton did not appear too nervous this time. Under Helena's guidance, he soon entered a state of transformation. When the modified machine cabin door opened again, a trace of golden light mixed with smoke was revealed. This scene made Shin-Ji couldn't help but be surprised. After all, Bumblebee had just changed from an elite ship girl to a super rare ship girl, which was just a leap between levels. But for Northampton, the result is a bit shocking. After all, he is a rare level ship girl. To cross to the super rare level, he must cross 2 levels. And as the modified machine was completely opened, a completely different ship girl appeared in front of Shin-Ji and others. The purple hair turned into long straight black hair, the whole person looked taller, the white skin turned into wheat color, and the figure became plumper than before. Northampton, Bumblebee looked at the companion in front of him with his mouth wide open. What a big change. Shin-Ji nodded in agreement. Indeed, Northampton has a completely new look. Seeing the surprise of everyone on the opposite side, and then looking down at his current changes, Northampton's eyes also showed an expression of joy. Oregon City-class heavy cruiser Northampton, Commander, I once told you that it was my lifelong regret that I could not bring the Hornet back safely. I never expected that I would be able to ride on the sea with her again in this form. Commander, please witness the scenery on this journey with me. Shin-Ji smiled and nodded, my eyes have been witnessing your changes and growth. I hope there will be no regrets this time. Thank you, Commander, Northampton said gratefully. Shin-Ji's eyes flashed as he watched Northampton walking towards him and laughing with York City and Bumblebee. Commander, what's wrong? Could it be because of the changes in Northampton? Have you found a candidate to deliver the oath ring again? Aurora covered her mouth and chuckled. Shin-Ji couldn't help rolling his eyes. What are you talking about? I was just excited because of the appearance of Northampton. You know, Oregon City and the heavy cruiser originally planned to build 10 ships, but after only 3 were built, was stopped. Northampton was originally planned to be suspended, but in order to ensure the smooth takeoff and landing of the new aircraft carrier United States planned by the Navy needed a specialized radar picket ship to act as the eyes and ears of the United States. Therefore, the current Northampton should not be called a heavy cruiser, but a command light cruiser. And Northampton's data exists in the Mind Cube, which means that one day, we can summon or use blueprints to create the United States super aircraft carrier. Bismarck blinked. Wake up, Commander, although the possibility you mentioned does exist, but you have to think about what the previous model of the super aircraft carrier the United States was. midway level, Qin Ji said helplessly. So, we can't even see a midway-class aircraft carrier in our port area now. As for the more distant United States, I suggest not to have too many expectations. Maybe one day we will see such a super aircraft carrier, but definitely not now. Bismarck smiled. Indeed, but I saw the emergence of Northampton, which proves that there is a possibility that one day in the future, we can really create the super aircraft carrier, Qin Ji said. Well, I believe so too. Our strength will become stronger and stronger, our technology will develop more and more, and our strength will definitely stand on top of the world in the future, Bismarck said. Ahem, I don't want to disturb you too, but we've been waiting over there for a long time, Aurora said with a smile. Qin Ji looked sideways and saw Heyman clenching his fists and looking at him angrily. Why didn't you even respond to Heyman's words? I was just talking about something with Bismarck, but did you really speak? Qin Ji asked. Snored. Looking at Heyman, who turned his head and looked arrogant, Qin Ji helplessly shrugged, making everyone burst into laughter. But soon after York City's persuasion, Heyman finally embarked on the transformation of the machine. When the hatch cover was closed, everyone was filled with expectations. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 964. Why don't I get any improvement? Heyman looked at his body and looked at Qin Ji angrily and said. Qin Ji touched his nose and said, actually, it's not like there are no changes at all. At least I can grow taller than before. But Heyman originally wanted to say something, but he held back in the end. Commander, why hasn't Heyman changed at all? Shouldn't it be upgraded to a super rare level? York City wondered. Qin Ji shook his head, I don't know either. The program of ship modification is in the core of your mind. As for Heyman's current state, I'm sure he has already gone through the modification. Maybe this is what ship modification is like. Uncertainty, it may be transformed to a higher level, or it may remain unchanged, but I believe that the overall strength will definitely be improved. Is that so? York City said suddenly. I think you have overlooked something. Bismarck looked at Hammond and said. Ignored something? Qin Ji asked doubtfully. Heyman only became an elite ship girl after undergoing transformation. She was originally a rare ship girl. I think it is precisely because of this that she became a native elite ship girl after the ship outfit transformation, right? Bismarck said. Qin Ji nodded in agreement. It's interesting for Bismarck to say this. Maybe it's because of this. Then after my transformation, won't I also become a rare ship girl? Langley said with some disappointment. Haha, Mr. Langley, don't be so depressed. Look at Northampton. After being transformed, a rare ship girl turned into a super rare ship girl. Maybe you will become an elite ship girl after the transformation. What about? Or even more powerful, directly becoming a super rare ship girl, Qin Ji said with a smile. Hee, Commander is really good at comforting people. If it's the same as what you said, that would be great. Langley smiled, but having said that, no matter how big the improvement is after the transformation, it will be very important for our future battles. It will help. Well, if you're ready, let Helena help you with the transformation. Good. Langley was very happy and quickly walked up. Under Helena's guidance, he entered the transformation machine and started the transformation. Soon, amid the rumble of the transformation machine, Langley completed the transformation. When the purple light and smoke were revealed, everyone's eyes were filled with surprise. Although the shock was much less than at the beginning, there was still a lot of joy. Ahem, this is the brand new Langley. How is it? Does it feel more refined than before? Are you ready to receive more rigorous teaching? Look forward to it, Commander. It was obvious that Langley was very satisfied with his transformation, and the proud expression on his face made him very excited. Haha, it's very impressive. It seems that this transformation has greatly improved you, Qin Ji said with a smile. That's right, my current capabilities, both in terms of combat capabilities and educational level, are impeccable, so Commander, please look forward to it. Langley smiled. Then I look forward to your future activity. After joking with Langley, it was finally York City's turn. Seeing that his sister and her companions had all completed the transformation, I finally relaxed after feeling a little worried before. Now I have more expectations for what I will look like after the transformation, not knowing how I will change. But no matter how much you think about it, you still have to face it in person. So, with Qin Ji's encouragement, she entered the transformation machine. As the transformation machine began to roar, the transformation of York City was also underway. However, compared to the previous transformation, it seems to take a lot more time. Commander, why does my sister's transformation take so long? Is there something wrong? Bumblebee asked with some confusion. Qin Ji shook his head. I don't know, but Helena hasn't shown panic until now, which means there is no problem and the transformation is going on normally. It's just that there are some changes that we don't know about in this transformation. Whether it's good or bad, all we can do now is wait. That's true, but is it possible that York City's sister has been upgraded by 2 levels like Northampton? Bumblebee smiled, but it shouldn't be possible. If it is upgraded by 2 more levels, wouldn't it be possible? Is it a maritime legend? Qin Ji was stunned for a moment, then squinted his eyes and looked at the modified machine, with a dazzling light blooming in his eyes. Maybe, it's not impossible. Bismarck smiled. Ah! Is it true that sister? Bumblebee was surprised. At this moment, the hatch of the modified machine suddenly rang, and then slowly opened. A colorful light burst out from inside, accompanied by thick smoke, and instantly illuminated the entire scientific research hall. And he knew that the light actually ignored the walls and roof of the scientific research hall and rose directly into the sky, allowing the entire port area and surrounding islands to see this magical scene. In the public port office area. Look, Guam over there. Ruhi turned around and looked at everyone in the room, pointing at the brilliance soaring into the sky with a surprised look on his face. This light, why does it feel a bit like the light that Commander Qin Ji used to summon Shinano? Xiang He was stunned for a moment and said in surprise. Legend of the Sea? It's really surprising, Ning Hai said in surprise. Actually, what I'm more shocked about is how many maritime legends does Commander Qin Ji have now. When he went to our Northern Alliance before, he already had nearly a dozen. Soviet Rosia said with emotion. It's hard to say, I think there are at least more than 10 now, right? Ning Hai said. As far as I know, Ushiji Sakura's Musashi, Shinano, Shimekaze, and the Royal Vanguard, the iron-blooded Frederick the Great, Ulrich von Hutten, and Kronstadt in your Northern Union, and New Jersey in White Eagle. There are many things we don't know, just like the light appeared again before, just a few days ago. After you said that, I suddenly felt that with Commander Qin Ji's strength now sweeping through our 9 major camps, there should be absolutely no problem, right? Ruhi said in surprise. Although I really don't want to admit it, after they are transformed into ships, the power they control is beyond our imagination. Especially when fighting side by side with them, an ordinary Vanguard ship has more capabilities than us. These awakened battleships are much stronger, Soviet Rosia said speechlessly. Haha, isn't this a good thing? Xiang He said with a smile, looking at the disappearing light on the horizon. Commander Qin Ji is doing what we want to do now. If he can really make the oceans of this world reopen, if we can return to peace, it would be great for humans and ship girls. Yes, and we must also dedicate ourselves to this magnificent cause.